Before the success stories, the progress, there was you. You who made a choice to grow, to inspire, to overcome your own challenges. At NASM, we're in service of your limitless potential, because when you keep growing, we all get stronger, and we'll never stop making your journey our mission. Join the fitness leader. Become a fitness leader. Become a certified personal trainer.
You're listening to Random Fit with hosts Wendy Batts and Ken Miller, winner of a Gold Markham Award for Digital Media.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Random Fit with myself, Wendy Batts, and co-host and friend Ken Miller. Ken, how's it going?
It's good, Wendy. How you doing? You're looking good.
Oh, thanks. You as well. Look, we're on the same colors, just different words. Look at you, training logo. Station. Way to market, my friend. Way to market.
Got to represent.
Well, today's episode, I get questions about all the time, Ken. I know you do as well, but we've got to talk about artificial intelligence, especially in the world of fitness and nutrition. And is it something that's here to stay? The answer is absolutely. We're not going to get rid of AI. AI is supposed to get smarter. They're probably going to take over the world. So we need to talk about the kind of pros and cons. So we're going to be talking about from data to dumbbells. And I think it's a topic where we're just going to let it all out, because I think there are some amazing pros to it where people are like, but you do this for a living. I'm like, I do.
Right.
And there's some major setbacks that I think are important to talk about as well. And then we can help our listeners decide if they want to partake or whether they want to just keep listening to their trainer, or maybe both.
Yeah. Hopefully both, because there's definitely a lot of advantages. I mean, Wendy, both you and I have some great technology on our wrists right now with our Garmin's. And from that vantage point, how often have you and I joked around about, hey, what's your body battery like today? Or how many steps did you get in? Or how much sleep or what quality of sleep what was your sleep score? So when it comes to technology like that, I mean, it's definitely information that we can use. And a lot of times I have clients that have wearables that tell me how much they've slept, how much activity, how intense their activity was. Their technology actually gives them information on suggestions on what they should do, because you can enter in what's your goal. Is it weight loss? Is it to improve your VO2? Is it for wellness? Is it for stress management? And it'll guide you towards those goals. But the one thing that my clients really do appreciate is that the rationale on why. Right? Because you and I, we've got a combined 50 plus years of experience when it comes to performance, wellness, post rehab, and things like that. But it's that input, that perspective on how certain bits of information actually fit in real time into their lifestyle. So when we talk about data to dumbbells, yeah, it is data, but you still have to lift the dumbbell, is the way we like to think about it.
Well, and I think one of the things about AI is it's adaptable. It's one of those things that you're putting in information, you're getting real-time feedback about whatever it is that you're inputting. And that's a pro and a con. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about both of those, because I think it's important. Whatever you're inputting, the data that's getting out of it and the programs that are going to come out of it, it can be something that is progressive, something that's going to ensure that your workout regimen is something that's effective, something that maybe is systematic, something that's going to be challenging. All of that is super important and a definite pro. However, if you're just putting random data in and you're asking it to analyze and provide you with some sort of program, like I want a bodybuilder program and I want it to be this way because you want to look a certain way, but yet you haven't been exercising, it can be something that can be a definite con, because it's not taking into effect or account your assessments, your maybe how you're feeling, your compensation patterns. Maybe it's something that's providing only a workout because you didn't put specific what do you call them? Like specific feedback or specific, what are they called? Like cues. What are you
Prompts.
typing in? Prompts. I'm like, what's the word, Ken?
Yeah.
Putting the right prompts in. And I think that's something that if you're not careful, it can actually be extremely harmful for you, especially if it's not something that is very adaptable and specific to your needs.
Yeah. And when it comes to that, so if you're using one of those AI tools like ChatGPT or Gemini or something along those, and there's a lot out there. So as we were doing the research, Wendy, the amount of options that you know, websites that you can go to give them the prompts, and there are fitness-based websites that you can go to, but they're still scouring from the same pool of information, which is the internet. So your output is only as good as your input, is what I like to tell my clients, but still the input is never complete enough to give you something that's 100% usable. Just like when we start off with a client, we can do an assessment. We can do a health history, medical history, goals assessment. But a lot of times it's not until the second or maybe the third session that we've been able to fine tune their workout for how they feel. Was it too easy? Do we need to up the challenge, or was it too challenging? Like you were sore the next day, even though you didn't feel like you were being challenged during our time together. Like, wow, why are my thighs and my glutes or my upper back so sore today? It's like, well, we did one set of 15 of this exercise and I didn't think you'd be sore either, but everybody responds differently to exercises and intensity. So by the second or third session, we kind of have an idea of where somebody could or should be to get them pointed into the right direction. So when you take this and make it more digitally based, or you're behind the computer, you're having the computer decide where you're starting, or you're having the app tell you where the better place for you to start will be. But unless you can update it and make those fine-tuned adjustments, it's really not set yet. So that's where the digital side is one thing, but you still need that second pair of eyes or that other perspective to give you an idea of, okay, well, is this really the right place for me to start?
Well, and I think it's important too, when you said data that you input versus what you're going to get out of it. One of the reasons that we wanted to bring this to the forefront today, especially with this topic, is you guys know I teach online. I teach the NASM methodology, and I had a program design course with 40 students in my class. Wow. And it was very interesting because there were people that looked through the textbook, understood the concepts and methodologies of why we go through the continuum the way we do. And then there was other people that were trying to take the easy way out, and they went to one particular AI source and they typed in NASM stabilization endurance program and put in just some random data that I had provided for them to design a program that was going to best suit the needs of that particular example that I had provided. And they did put in NASM program. So if you put in NASM program, it should follow the methodologies that NASM provides and provide you with the exercise selection or supersets or whatever it is based on the actual phase of training that you're in. Well, it didn't. And it provided these exercises that I was appalled, because it should have been a phase 2. It should have been, certain exercises to avoid based on compensation patterns or certain injuries or certain things that were going on. And this exercise was a very hypertrophy strength based focused program. And I'm like, there's no NASM in here whatsoever. And so I called them out. They ended up getting a 0 on their assignment because they cheated. And there was one particular, I made them fess up, like, listen, if you want to not get thrown out of the university, I need to know where you gathered this information. And they both used the same AI source, which was terrible. And so you want to be careful, because if you are a fitness enthusiast, one of the pros about using AI is it's cheaper than getting a personal trainer. We all know that. However, if you're using a bad AI source, even though you're inputting good data, you still may not be getting the program that's going to best suit your needs to hit a particular goal. There's my rant, by the way.
No, and I'll say the same thing, because I've played around with it and I've put in prompts, and just to see what the different prompts will give you. And it was just exactly like what you said, Wendy. You put in a certain condition, and you and I are both familiar with the 5 different phases of training through the NASM training model, but it'll give you something else. And again, it's only curating its output based on what's out there in the internet. So if the website is questionable, it's just going to pull from a certain website. And if that source is questionable, so is the output. So unless you know what you're looking for, you don't know what to adjust. And that's the one thing that I like to make sure my clients understand when it comes to, well, I want you to take what you've learned from me and know what works for you and build off of that, versus going to something else that says they have the same background as I do from how I might think in creating programs, but still it's for who and for what goal and when is it going to be applied. So if you ask those 3 basic questions, does that output fit answer those 3 questions at the same time? And a lot of the times, no. A lot of the times, no. Like for your example, Wendy, hypertrophy may be a good goal later on, but until you're trying to address muscle imbalances and obvious compensation patterns, the volume and intensity required to put on muscle is you're far from it, because you have to address these other things first. So it may be appropriate for somebody 3 months down the line, but for today, it's not a good thing.
Well, and I think too, it's also important to talk about, the experts that have provided the information, because that's what AI is pulling from. So it's great on a pro, you've got good research that's out there. Maybe some of it is evidence-based, maybe some of it's not. But to your point, another big con is there's not that personal touch. And I know with my clients, I start building rapport. I have this relationship. I know when they come in and they look tired. I know when maybe something's off, because I can just see it in how they're walking and they're feeling or moving, because I get to know their bodies. I am the AI at that point, because I am working with them so much. I learn what is kind of the best practices for them and best movement quality they can provide. And if I see that they're off, I make the adjustments. Unfortunately, AI doesn't see that. And so I think having the empathy, having the connection, being able to visually help them, and then also correcting form. I mean, that's not there. It's just spitting out a program.
Yeah, and that's even the bigger part. Form and technique. When do you ramp somebody up, and when do you bring somebody down? So the human touch cannot be replaced. So Wendy, instead of you saying you're the AI, you're the I. You're just intelligent. There's no artificial intelligence about you. But that's the part that cannot be replaced. Because there are times when I'm looking at somebody's statistics. So if they're showing me whatever digital tool that they're showing me, their HRV, their resting heart rate, their intensity from their last workout, if I can see what their trends are, I can see where their body is. But if you're looking somebody in the eye and you can tell, maybe their quality of sleep didn't match the amount of sleep. So they got 8 hours, but it was a bad 8 hours of sleep. Maybe that's not the day that I push them, that we're working on a max power or a power day that may have been on their plan. There's been plenty of times it's like, you know what? Here's what my plan was for you today, but we're going to scrap that based on the fact that you have a project at work, or you have a school assignment that you're still thinking about. Your mind is not here today, but we will do what your body can do safely based on your energy, the effort, the mental energy you can still spend on this workout, and physically what you can control and stabilize and be able to do with good energy and effort with minimal compensations. And we can still get a good workout based on what you're walking in with. A piece of paper or a digital printout can't do that for you.
100%. I mean, and another thing too is also thinking about bugs in software. You may be waiting for your program and all of a sudden your internet's down, or there's, something going on, or it's spitting out programs that aren't effective. They're not giving you tempos. They're not looking at rep ranges. They're just spitting out information based on exercises. And it could be, and we see this all the time, unfortunately, on social media, where there's people out there that they look amazing. They're doing some of these exercises and you're like, well, maybe that's appropriate for them, but definitely wouldn't work for my clients. AI doesn't know that. And so I think one of these things, when we're looking at pros and cons, there's a huge difference of going and working with someone and being a true person that's going to design a program to help them reach a specific goal. AI, if you're just looking for a workout and you are inputting specific data, it can give you different ways to progress your exercises, make them harder, but it may not follow a particular systematic progression that might be the most beneficial for you. And so it's something to think about too, and this also goes with nutrition, Ken. I mean, it's not an RD. So if you have a specific issue and you're looking for meal plans, like, great, it's going to give you good macronutrient, information, or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. It may tell you, here's some good sources, some good recipes, but it doesn't mean that the program or the meal plan it designs for you is going to be best for you, because especially if you have some kind of issue that an RD needs to work with you on to make sure that you're, staying healthy and keeping whatever levels up that may be dropping. Or if you've got obesity, or you've got type 1 or type 2, there's a lot of specific foods that you should be eating and should avoid. So there are certain times of day that you need to make sure that you're doing certain things. AI is not going to tell you to do that.
No, it's not. And exercise and nutrition, again, I said it earlier here on this episode of Random Fit, when we're talking about from data to dumbbells, right? But to talk about nutrition a little bit, the information that you put in is going to determine the information that comes out. And nutrition is, I think, even worse, Wendy, when it comes to the amount of information that's out there, because it's the wild, wild west when it comes to looking for, how do I increase my fiber intake? How do I ensure that I get 30 grams of protein? How do I? And from that vantage point, who knows where this information can be coming from? So whatever comes up based on your prompts, based on your goals, and based on what your current situation is, then the information that's going to come out, I mean, that can go. And I've entered in for, I've tried it with, just like I did with exercise, with nutrition, and the information's still way out there. Like, I put food preferences, I've entered hypothetical food allergies, and the information is still crazy when it comes to what it'll put out there. I mean, there, on the other end, there have been some good recipes, some suggestions from that standpoint. But overall, when it tells you, okay, sticking to this 2,500 calorie diet, and it'll put some random stuff on there. But, individually, there's, I mean, it's been hit and miss, but more miss than hit when it's come to nutrition.
You're right. I mean, it's one of those things where I can't fault AI. I can't, because again, the more that we put prompts in, the more that there's more research out there, it can provide some substantial information that maybe you couldn't gather very easily unless you put in specific prompts. But I'm hoping that people understand, and this is what I tell my clients, if you're just looking for something for triceps or biceps, or you want some different ideas to spice up your routine, AI is a great way to go. But if you're looking for specific health benefits because you have a specific need, then I think AI might not be the best starting place. It may be something where you might not want to use it until you start to understand a little bit more about your body, or work with a professional to help you with compensation and movement patterns and quality of things. But on the how-tos and stuff, I think it's great.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a conversation that I've had with a few clients already, is that it's a tool. It's just something that's there to, like you said, it gives you ideas, right? It's not something to be taken at face value and it's the end all be all. But overall, the the idea is that, we use it as a way to kind of get some perspective, but ultimately decisions still have to be made by you as the end user, or if you're a personal trainer who's using this as a tool to help you create programs for teams or individuals. Again, you ultimately, as a fitness professional, have to make the end decision when it comes to what information does come out. So, Wendy, hopefully we've given people some perspective on the use of AI, or the idea of using our data input from tools that we're already incorporating, right? That's telling us, what we could or should, or maybe push us or nudge us in a certain direction. But hopefully we'll get our listeners today will get the idea that it is a tool. It's not making the end decision. That's ultimately up to us. But for the most part, good input, okay output is what I like to say. But overall, I think that when it comes to AI, it's a tool that's here to stay. The better we learn to use it and put it in perspective, the better we will be at the end when it comes to how we can improve our health and wellness when it comes to exercise and nutrition. So again, Wendy, another great episode with you. Thank you so much for sharing your insight. And for those of you listening to us here on Random Fit, thank you so much for your time and giving us an opportunity to share part of your day. So if you like what you heard today on this episode of Random Fit when it comes to data to dumbbells, please share, download, and overall, let us know what you want us to talk about in the future, and we will be sure to get something on the air for you here on Random Fit. So until next time, everybody, take care and be well.